There is a mitzvah in the Torah of tochacha, of giving rebuke or constructive criticism to somebody when you see someone doing something wrong. But the Gemarah in Yevamos actually says that just like there's a mitzvah to give that rebuke, give that feedback when it can be received, there's also a mitzvah not to give it when it won't be received. And this is incredible because the Gemarah is telling us that it's not just that the mitzvah doesn't apply when it won't be received, but it's that by not giving the tochacha, you're actually fulfilling the mitzvah of giving the tochacha, of giving the rebuke by not giving it. And what does that mean? I think maybe what it means is that the whole purpose, the whole intention of giving the constructive criticism is to help somebody be at their best self, to help them, assist them in whatever way that we can to serve Hashem and to serve this world in the best way possible. And so sometimes we can get them there by giving them the feedback. But sometimes we actually help them get there by not giving the feedback, by actually choosing what not to say. I'll give you a mundane example of this. I was working with a client who had a lot of trouble managing his emotions around his children. And I asked him to kind of give me like a rundown of what the day looks like, how things escalate, how things seem to spiral. And he described to me how when he walks home, when he walks in the door from work, and he sees all the lights on in the house, it really irks him. All the lights on, the electricity bill goes higher, and he tells his children, to not keep on the lights unnecessarily, but nobody listens to him. And so we spoke about realizing that, well, maybe this is something that's not worth it, right? Though that money, that little bit of money that's going up on your electricity bill, is that worth it to now every time when you get home, it's already on a downward slope? It's already spiraling so that because you're upset about this and now you're going to be upset at the next thing and then the next thing and the next thing, it's just going to keep going down. Do you want to walk in already with that sour feeling? Or is this something to say, you know what? I can accept this as something that's not worth being said anymore because it's not being received and it's not going to help me to keep badgering about this and I'm only hurting myself. And that's a kind of mundane example. But as our children get older, I think this applies also more, especially with teenagers, with things that might really bother us, but we have to maybe recognize that we need to be really intentional about what we choose to comment on and what we choose to set boundaries and limits on versus what we choose to accept and kind of notice but look the other way. I heard of Moshe Weinberger, give an example about himself actually, so I only say this because he did. But he said how when one of his daughters was a teen, she used to wear her hair in a certain way that apparently Weinberger really didn't think was appropriate. And he used to really bother her about this, and she would get really upset until Rebbetzin Weinberger came and told Rav Weinberger, she's not going to wear her hair that way forever unless you keep bothering her about it. And this is a stage, this is what teenagers do. They try different things out, they experiment, they're trying to find their own sense of self, their own sense of identity. And we need to choose wisely, where is it that what we're saying will be heard and that will be helpful? Or where is it that not saying something will actually be what gives the person the sense of acceptance, their own individuality, and their own self-esteem to be able to become their best person, their best self. Rav Yaakov Horowitz says that he often advises parents when they approach him about, is this something I should make a big deal about? Is this an issue? Is this not an issue? He said he always tells parents, if you were living on an island or in the middle of the countryside, so you weren't near any other people, you had your own space, would you be making an issue out of this? Is this really because you deeply believe on your values that this is something worth making an issue about? Or is this because you're embarrassed about the neighbor or you're worried about shidduchim?